This episode of Skirmish Supremacy is brought to you by Reformation Brewery, the official beer of your game night.
On IT. That's why I've always preferred analog gaming.
Well, that's not even what I mean. I met with War Banner.
Oh, yeah.
Because last year, pretty much as soon as Andy announced Gangs Rome, I reached out to him and was like, "All right, let's get you on the podcast. Let's talk about this."
Mm-hmm.
And how many tries was it before we finally got him on? Let's just say it was once it was announced, and he finally came on after it was released.
Yeah,
I can put it like that. It was
right. Okay. Yeah. So a time delay there. That's unlike Andy. He's usually quite.
It was. It was the situation of just random stuff constantly happening.
Yeah. Well, that's just Andy's life all over. Being an international man of mystery, it doesn't lend itself to scheduling.
International man of mystery, where we're always just wondering what in the hell Andy Hobday is doing at any given time.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like to think he's just asleep on a bed of money.
I don't know. As a co-conspirator with them, he's asleep on a bed of money. I'd be wondering where that bed of money is, where he got it from.
Yeah. Clearly, he's stolen. Well, no, he's not. No, I'm not even going to go there.
That's all right.
Out of respect and out of the fact that I like my job.
Yeah. All right, so I suppose we will kick this thing off, and we're going to change it up. Nick, I'm going to just throw it at you to do the intro tonight.
Oh, I've got an intro to do. Welcome back to Skirmish Supremacy Podcast. This is episode I Don't Care.
124.
124, apparently. I didn't look it up beforehand. For some reason, I knew I should have looked it up before the show started, and then I forgot to, and, figures he would throw it at me to, do the intro. So as you can hear in the background, Tim is around. He's got a great big banner behind him again. That portends the end of everything.
It's a sound dampener. Let's not even joke about what it is. It is literally there to help dampen sound a little.
Having a new family, need to have that barrier while he's trying to work. Yeah. And also joining us is Paul Matthews from War Banner.
Hi. How's everybody doing?
Well, we're doing good. I hope all our listeners are doing well, too.
So do I.
Though I am disappointed. Paul asked me today, he's like, I don't have to, dress up or wear a tutu or anything, right? This is all just audio. And I told him he could wear the tutu if he wanted to, because that would just be entertaining. And he didn't. He's wearing a flash shirt.
Well, I would like to point out that you can only see me from the abdomen upwards.
Oh, so maybe the tutu is still out.
Yeah, could be down there.
Well,
or even worse, it could not be down there.
This is true. So basically, just forewarn us if you stand up. I mean, this all goes to just MP3 anyway, but, in case we ever want to use video footage from this, that way we can timestamp when stuff is going to happen.
Yeah, that's only fair.
Yeah. So, Paul, how you doing?
No one needs to see that. I'm good. It's only 1 o'clock in the morning over here, so still got a good couple of hours working before I crawl into bed, crying like a broken man.
Is Andy cracking the whip that hard?
Oh, 2 whips, 1 in each hand.
That bastard.
4 if Mark joins in.
So tell us a little bit about what you do with War Banner.
I help on the social media. I help with the editing and proofreading. I'm helping with the promotion of Gangs of Rome, and I'm helping to write elements of Gangs of Rome. And I'm involved in some other super secret projects that I'm not allowed to tell you.
Oh,
Now, that's great listening, that, isn't it? Right there. Yeah.
Right,
There's all this
well,
cool stuff going on, and I can't tell you a single thing about any of it. So yeah, I've got many hats.
Yeah, I know that feeling in the gaming world. You never director of retail sales. Never is just that. No. So, yeah, I totally understand you on that one.
Yeah.
But so you said that the primary part of what you do is the bread and butter is the social media side of War Banner.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the larger aspects of it. Yeah, I think the sort of the copywriting and proofing side is quite big, but it's I think the social media and promotion, I think, is probably at the forefront right now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So do you mind kind of going into your trade secrets on that a little bit? Because we have a lot of listeners to the show that like to know, kind of the nuts and bolts of what goes on in the back of the industry. And we are approached from time to time, especially at conventions more than anything else, by folks that want to get a break in the industry, and they kind of want to know some of the business aspects of
it. I think if you want to get a break in the industry, find a small company that's doing something well and help them do it better by having, even if it's only one skill that they require that you can do better than they're currently doing it, and that anybody else can do it. So for me with War Banner, it was editing. I offered to edit Gangs of Rome, the first edition of that, and I did that well. And from there, I was able to help the company in different areas. Because I think at our end of the industry, you need to have, instead of a lot of specialists, you need to have a small amount of very versatile members of staff.
I would agree with that.
Contributors. So whilst I initially got a foot in the door at War Banner with just the editing, I was able to progress from there and help on quite a few fronts. And I think that's a value to Andy and Mark at War Banner. And I think anybody trying to get into the industry needs to have a suite of skills, not just one specialism. I mean, obviously, if there's one thing that you're really good at, that's great, but you need to have other skills as well, I think, unless you're going to go work for Games Workshop or Fantasy Flight, then you might be able to just specialize in one thing, but you need to work your way up before you can get to that position.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion. Yeah.
Fantastic. So one of the things that a lot of people have seen, especially we talked with Andy about this on the Gangs of Rome side of it, that you don't need a ton of miniatures in order to play a game. Nick and I, we started Skirmish Supremacy based off the premise of skirmish gaming, which is, as we all know, small, war band counts. And one of the things that we really saw with Gangs of Rome that stuck out is the fact that you could play with 5 to 10 miniatures, and then the crowds, the actual civilian crowds themselves. So when it comes time to the game design that you guys take on at War Banner, what is your methodology? Because one thing that I definitely saw right off the bat is that the core rules of Gangs of Rome, if you can't pick them up in 2 minutes, then I think that just about any game on the planet, including Chutes and Ladders, might be a little challenging for you.
I think one of the main things that we're looking for is something you can pick up quickly. No one's expressly said that a small model count is a prerequisite, but it certainly the model count. But it is something that you do need to pick up quickly. I found when I've been demoing Gangs of Rome at shows, 2-3 turns and people have got it. And then once they have a short period of time when they're learning the game, and then the rest of the game they have to enjoy it.
Right.
And that's something that where Andy particularly is very keen on. Prior to Gangs of Rome, he was in charge of producing Test of Honor for Warlord Games. And Test of Honor works very much along the same lines. Got a simple mechanic, easy to pick up, small model count, and it's not about crunching numbers. It's dice driven, and it's playing. It feels like you are playing a game and not engaging in some sort of mathematical exercise.
Right.
And so that's the things that Andy and Mark are very keen on. They want games that are fun to play, easy to pick up, and affordable.
Which, yeah, makes perfect sense. So you said that you are working on scenarios currently for Gangs of Rome. We know that there's been a lot of talk and a lot of people have been making their own homebrew scenarios and things of that. How many scenarios would you say that you guys kind of have planned for Gangs of Rome moving forward? Or currently in production?
Scenarios. Now, by scenarios, we literally mean one sheet PDFs.
One sheet PDFs, small campaign books, anything of that sort.
Right. Okay. So we have. I can't give you an exact number, and that's not because it's a secret. It's because I don't know what the number is. We have a small number already available to download for free off the website. We've got a number of others that are in various stages of preparation, and we've got some more coming out in what we call gang boxes that we've got coming out soon. So we're bringing out 2 gangs for each of the 4 regions in the Gangs of Rome at present. The first wave is coming out shortly, and they're 2 gangs from the Sabura area, and there'll be three gang members in each box, with an objective marker, the cards, stat cards, new equipment cards or coin cards as they're known in the game, and a scenario. So we got scenarios for all those, and as I say, we've got a lot more in production, and we are receiving scenarios from members of the public that we're editing and having laid out at the moment.
Nice.
So we don't just want to. We're quite keen on having a free resource on the website that people can access and download to help them support and enjoy the game.
Okay. So people are able to enter their own scenarios to allow them to kind of really make Gangs of Rome their own, and that you're able to help kind of publish that on the website. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. We'll take that. We'll give it a light edit. We'll lay it out properly. We'll put a nice map in there, and then we'll get it on the website. And we've got some of those ready to go at the moment.
So for those listening that are looking at doing something similar to that, what is the process that is required for people if they want to write up some scenarios for Gangs of Rome and have them made and put on the website by the Warbanner team? What are you guys looking for on that?
I think they can email us in the first instance, say, I've got this fantastic idea for a scenario, a number of scenarios, or some link scenarios. We have a template that we'd like them to use, which breaks a scenario down into the component parts that we need, which are an introduction, a map, even if it's just a hand-drawn quick sketch, the components for the scenario, like the mobs in Cola and so on, and then special rules and victory conditions. If we get a submission that meets all those requirements, if we think the game's got merit and we think it's going to be fun to play, then we'll turn that around. So just contact us via the website if there's any questions, or even if you just want to ask, do you think this would make a great scenario? Then just drop us a line, and we'll be very happy to. We'll be more than very happy. We'll be thrilled. We'll be thrilled to field any of those questions.
Fantastic. So you guys are definitely going towards pushing for the community to really be involved in a way that a lot of companies don't do. The companies always like having their fans. However, I've noticed that especially nowadays with people wanting more interaction in their games, having company involvement is a huge win for a lot of people. They see that as like, this is an immediate jump into the game for me.
Yeah. I mean, we're Andy's very big on community. At the moment, we're about to start on a sequence of demonstration games going into people's clubs and bricks and mortar stores. Take the game to them rather than waiting for them to come to us. Mm-hmm. Take the game to them, show them how it works, show them how it plays, give them some free stuff, let them enjoy the game, see how easy it is to pick up, and see how low the price point is to get into the game as well. And you can, there's so much competition at the moment that you need that level of accessibility. And the companies now need to go out to the customers. They can't wait for the customers to come to them. We're very big about going to shows, going to clubs, and going to stores and demoing the game to them to show how good it is.
Right. So obviously you guys are doing a lot of that over in Europe. What do you have US based as far as demo teams? Do you have like a Warbanner USA that's going out to stores on a physical level and doing that? Or is it something that you're planning on? How is that working for you?
That's something that we've got in the works at the moment. When we have that in situ, then we'll be very pleased to tell everybody all about it.
Gotcha.
And if anybody out there is listening and they want to get the game in their local store or local club, then just drop us a line and we'll see what we can do to support anybody who wants to do that.
Perfect. So let's go back to those gang boxes you're working on right now. Now you said that each gang box is going to come with 3 fighters and it's going to come with a scenario. Are the fighters in these boxes going to be randomized as far as like, obviously they're fighting from a certain region, but are they going to have random coin cards and random fighters in the box? Or are they going to be fixed very similar to how Blood on the Aventine was?
No, they'll be very much in the same way that Blood on the Aventine was. There'll be set cards, set characters, set coin cards, and there'll be entirely new sculpts. And there'll be all the characters in there. There's fiction there will be fiction on the website that goes with this gang boxes. They're going to become part of the ongoing story that is Gangs of Rome at the moment. We've got a number of characters that are moving in parallel to our fiction at the moment, and they'll be interacting and crossing over with one another. So yeah, they're all entirely new cards, entirely new sculpts, and entirely new objective markers. It's something that we're really excited about at the moment. They're going to be great little sets, and the price point's going to be Very competitive.
All right. So
No, I hate that. That sounds so corporate. It's going to be just so cheap. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Well, seeing as some of the other stuff that you've released and have made available in the deals that you've offered there, I can understand how very competitive is, because there are some. I mean, actually, your mega bundle for the mobs is still damn near a steal, and
it really is. And you need to get that while you can, because we're going to be retiring it soon. We've got No, don't buy it, because we've got something better coming out. We've got a mob box coming out that's going to have 3 mobs in. That's made out of the existing mob figures. And then we've got some new mobs coming out. We've got an angry mob.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, which I probably don't need to tell you much more about that, because the name sums it up. And then we've got a slave mob, which there are some special rules coming out for that. So the slave mob moves around the board, and if your character gets too close, there's a chance that the slave master in the mob will seize your character, and there's a chance that you might lose that character and it might become a slave. And then we've got a mob of animals, including some angry geese.
I thought that Angry Humans was going to be a bad one, but Angry Geese.
Angry geese. A goose once tried to steal my car keys, so I know how perilous crossing a geese can be. So your gang fighters need to be very careful, because those geese, they may take your keys, but they're not taking any business.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Just having mobs of angry geese on the board. Just you're the only humans in the whole Gangs of Rome board. The rest is just angry geese running around the place.
Yeah, but then the game, turns from beating up the other gang to just staying alive by running away from the geese.
Yeah,
also a viable scenario.
That sounds like a great scenario.
I mean, it does, and it's even worse than
that
zombies.
Scenario's not on the website by next week, then I'm not doing my job properly.
Okay, let me write this down real quick. Geese scenario.
Yeah. It could even be a whole new starter set there. Geese of Rome.
Oh man. Okay, see, now I want to see gang fighters as geese.
Oh, so we're getting anthropomorphic now. Fantastic.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, we're already going this route. Let's just go ahead and just get right away from the history completely.
I mean, they just were dressing up in costume, not anthropomorphic costumes.
Yeah, exactly.
Geese costumes. They
so
were
what you need to do
furries.
is make an agent with a golden duck mask or a golden goose mask.
Yeah, that's got it. Yeah, that's it. Fancy dress.
Exactly. So we noticed that you have a whole bunch of you have 8 new fighter sculpts. With the new fighter sculpts, obviously they all are very unique compared to some of the older ones that are out. And by older, I mean like original sculpts. Do you have all new cards did you create a whole new set of cards with these new sculpts as well? Or are you still kind of going off the same randomizers from before?
Still using the same randomizer for those. There's so many variables on that original set that went in, that we could keep going on those ad nauseum. But so we're very happy to keep going with those. But as I say, for the special characters, we've got the Incola. They all have their own individual cards and rules, and as I say, the gang boxes have their own cards as well. And we don't have that many of the Blood on the Aventine box sets left now, so we need to. We are creating another scenario set to replace that. Once Blood on the Aventine sells out, we won't be reprinting it. We'll bring out another scenario set that will have a whole new batch of gang cards that will be unique combinations for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Box set.
So how many of those sets would you estimate that you have left? Because I know that there's still lots of people, myself included in that have been looking for that Blood on the Aventine box set for a while.
We got less than 300, and that figure's a few weeks out of date now. The last time I asked, it was less than 300. So, and that considering we only released that, when did we release Blood on the Aventine?
May or June, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's how quickly it's selling out, considering we printed 1,000 copies.
Wow. Okay. Because I know that Nick and I were actually at NashCon, a historical convention here in the United States, and I was actually looking at picking up a Blood on the Aventine box set, but typical convention, especially when we were helping out other gaming companies, like I wanted to wait until the end to pick it up, just because at that point I don't want to be running back and forth to the room with it and all the other stuff. It's like, let's get it at the end. And it was all sold out. Like it was sold out, I think it was by Friday. And it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday convention, so it wasn't very long, but it was all sold out by Friday, maybe early Saturday morning. But I know that like when I went back to secure a copy, they were all gone. Warlord didn't have any. A couple of the local game stores that also went to the convention were completely out of them. And I was just like, well, damn it, that sucks.
That's great. It's good to know. I'm sorry that you didn't get one, but it's good to know that a lot of other people did. Yeah. Kind of sucks for you, but it's amazing for us.
Yeah.
And for people.
First world problems. Yeah.
First world problems. Yeah.
Actually, I'm happy to say I have my copy.
You need to pick one up soon. Because you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror if you don't, and it sells out.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I already have to do that anyway. It's never a pretty sight. But if I don't get in on this one, just for whatever reason, then the next scenario box, I'm actually glad to hear that you're releasing another scenario box. Then I'll definitely be able to snag at that one. I do like the idea of the regional gang bundles, though. I think that really helps with a lot of people trying to make gangs with the area coherency.
Oh man!
And we've just started selling little sets of 3 or 5 cards from a particular region. So if you wanted to do a gang that's based in the Aventine, for instance, we're selling sets of cards from just the Aventine. You can buy them singly now as well. So that will help for people who are building gangs from one particular area of the city.
Yeah, I was going to say that's really going to, help overall, because I know that Nick, actually, didn't you have an issue you were trying to build? I think it was was it an Orcus gang? I might be wrong on that.
Not an Orcus. No. Okay. The games that I've played, I do have a gang that is all from the same region, and like the first games I played, I didn't even realize exactly, like I knew there was supposed to be a bonus and all that. That bonus is super bananas when you are, when your gang is from the same area and in combat, makes loads of differences.
Yeah, it really does. Really does. If you can get a gang that's all from the same area, it's well worth it. So if you're out there and you're listening and you want to pick up cards from all one region, then get to the Warband website now, because you can buy as many as you like.
Good to know.
It's good to tell people as well.
It's very good. I haven't played a lot of Gangs of Rome yet. Mostly because they're actually all still kind of like this guy.
In bits?
Unpainted. No, he's just not on a base yet. It's because
have you given him a hammer instead of a sword there? That guy?
Yeah, I gave him a hammer. I did go around and kind of switch people's hands around. Yeah,
let's go. I like it.
But I've got a bunch of bases that I made that I want to cast so that I can duplicate them, and I I just haven't had a chance to cast them all up. So
Yeah, and I'm still sitting over here going, I wish I had some figures, but we'll get there, one step at a time. My wife and I just brought some kids into to foster to adopt, so what that's a little bit more important than miniatures at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
But so the one thing I wanted to ask, because I am big into this culture, we have seen a couple little teasers, and if you could talk about it, great. If you can't, we totally understand. About some particular hoplites with very stylized helmet and shields and spears, and they may look like Spartans.
I couldn't possibly comment. Yeah, I mean, there are people who like Greek gaming and people who like making games for people who like Greek gaming, and whether or not Warbanner fits into any of those
may or may
Venn
not be
diagrams, it may or may not be true. I couldn't possibly say.
Fantastic.
I mean,
what I'm doing on screen, however.
So yeah, Nick and I did not see anything. For those of you listening to the MP3 of this later on, nothing was seen whatsoever.
Nothing?
But
Warbanner itself posted the pictures.
well, did they? They didn't post any miniatures from what I saw.
Yeah, they posted sculpts.
No.
Really? This is new to me. Now I need to go.
You can't see me reaching for my phone, can you?
Everyone's like, "Wait a minute, what?" It was either Warbanner or Andy has been putting out spoilers without telling people.
God damn it, Andy!
Oh, okay. Can we retable that question in like 2 minutes, 5 minutes? Like to ask me something else.
Sure, yeah. We'll come back to it in a minute. In the meantime,
I'm all over this. I totally know what I'm talking about, don't I?
In the meantime, we'll just pretend that you hear some elevator music going on.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do, do, do.
Thank you, Nick. That's a valuable contribution to this episode.
You missed your calling. You missed your calling.
I'm going to sing the Doom song now.
Oh boy.
Okay, so I can see a picture of a guy. Okay. So there's that very nice piece of artwork by Steve Beckett.
And then on Thursday at 4:52 p.m. is Elysium Waiting, Wounded and Dead Peltas, Slinger and Archer, sculpts from Stavros Zulietas. I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. There may or may not be a game with a Greek theme setting. See, I have this thing where I like to eat, so I don't want to say too much in case I lose my job. So come ask me again in a couple of weeks, and we'll retable this discussion in a couple of weeks.
We can do that most definitely.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't going out live, is it? This is
No.
We're going to edit this down.
Very
minimally.
So
it'll be edited.
Excellent. So you can edit down my contribution to 2 whole minutes of anything that makes any sense whatsoever. We've got a game coming out called Mortal Gods, which is going to be based in ancient Greece. There's a really, really big reveal that I can't tell you at the moment because it's tied in with another massive release that we've got lined up for Christmas, and I genuinely can't tell you because it hasn't broken cover yet. but it's big news for the company. It's a massive deal for Warbanner. And as soon as you find out, then drop me a line. I'll be very happy to come on and talk to you about it. We'll get Andy on, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to talk to you about it, because we're so excited about it. It's massive, but I can't tell you.
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, we have got a game coming out for with Greek people in it. I'm surprised he's put that picture up. Clearly, you're talking to the wrong man.
Yeah. Well, so to be fair, it's just basically a bunch of dead spear chuckers. You know,
so also before he went on holiday, he also posted Warfare in Ancient Greece as a book that he had for a little light reading for the airplane.
Yeah.
So
a bit of research he's got going on there. Yeah.
So really, I guess what I'm saying, everyone, is just go friend Andy, and you'll get all the spoilers.
Let him. Yeah. It's his company. Let him screw the pooch on it. It's fine.
He can. All he needs to worry about is what Mark will do to him. But that's he's got martial arts training. He's got a black belt in social media. He doesn't need to worry about anything.
It's amazing. So, can you tell us a little bit about the game as far as is it going to be similar in size to Gangs of Rome, or is it going to be bigger, smaller?
It's small unit. You're probably looking at a guess, depending on you're looking at anything from 10 to 25 miniatures, around about that size.
Okay.
Per side. So yeah, it's small unit. Neat mechanics. Edited a set of one particular mechanic a couple of weeks ago. Andy sends me stuff and says, "Mate, turn this into English," which is very exciting. No pressure there. And yeah, it's going to be going. It's along the same lines of Gangs of Rome, Test of Honor, in that it's going to be easy to pick up, but difficult. Not difficult. It's going to be quick to pick up, but you'll have to invest time in it to master it. Okay. I'm looking forward to demoing it shows, because it's going to be cool demoing it shows, because it's going to be so easy to pick up. It's going to be really good.
All right. So yeah, we'll just keep poking and badgering at Andy until he tells us more about it. Yeah.
I'll tell him that he needs to come on and tell you himself.
Perfect.
The thing is with Andy, he's getting on a bit now, and this is way past his bedtime for Andy.
Yeah, I think the last time we had to record, Nick and I had to be on with him at, what was it, about 4:30 our time, Nick?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I offered here, but Paul was like, "Oh no, I'll stay up all night. It's all good."
I hopefully I've got another couple of hours of work in me before I go to bed.
This, folks, is what we like to refer to as a company man.
yeah. That, and if I don't have money, my wife beats me.
Fantastic. So with I know obviously you've got the Greek project. You said there's some other stuff that you're working on. Obviously you can't tell us too much about the other ones, but how many projects overall right now would you say? And again, we don't need specifics, but the last time we had Andy on, he said that he was going full steam ahead with a lot of projects. He just wasn't sure how many. If you could kind of guesstimate right now, how many projects do you have going on of various games that you as Warbanner are working on?
Okay. So, and that doesn't include more Gangs of Rome stuff. This is entirely new.
New games? Entirely new stuff.
Okay, entirely new stuff. So there's that one that I can't tell you about. There's that one that I really can't tell you about, or else I'll get fired. There's those two that I'd love to tell you about, but I can't. There's that one that's cool, but slightly on the back burner. But
Oh
I
no,
still
you can
can't
tell
tell
us
you
about
about
that
that
one.
one. I would say there's 6 that I'm aware of. Yeah,
And all vastly different games in their own way.
yeah, very much so. Yeah, yeah. Um, two share mechanics. The rest are all entirely different.
Wow. Okay. And are most of them historical leaning as far as like Gangs of Rome and like even Saga? I like to call Saga, obviously it's not your company's product, but I call Saga more of a historical leaning because of the fact that like, well, I mean, I could put Yom Vikings against Crusaders, and things like that nature where, clearly that never happened, but at the same time, within the confines of the game, you're able to do that.
It's an even split between fiction and historical and fantasy.
Okay. Yeah, because like even Gangs of Rome was more, yeah. Gangs of Rome is definitely more historical leaning. Obviously you're not like taking this section of history and like trying to rewrite rules for everything that could possibly happen. You're like, no, we're just going to focus on the gangs during this time period. Go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and same thing with Test of Honor. As far as that goes, it's historical leaning. It is not, focusing on like one particular era and these battles within, the feudal Japanese period. So, I guess, yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering is like if a lot of the games that you're doing are more of the historical leaning, or you got some that's like straight up sci-fi and straight up fantasy and things of that nature as well.
Yeah, sorry, got that wrong. We've got three historical, 2 fantasy, and 1 sci-fi, and there's that other historical one as well that I'd forgotten about. So that's 7.
Wow. Including Gangs of Rome, so 8 active games on the roster.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, definitely.
9 if you count Test of Honor, since I think Warlord still technically has that one, correct?
That's a curveball. What do you know about Test of Honor?
That Andy made it, and that Warlord initially released it, and I believe I think they just had like was it just the exclusive distribution rights, or I might be wrong on that.
So yeah, but that's still very much a Warlord game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if that was something to where, it came back to War Banner just because it's, technically it's kind of Andy's baby and, everything that was going on with that. But I wasn't sure. So I figured I'd ask.
You don't get anything without asking.
Right.
Yeah. Andy had, there wouldn't be Test of Honor without Andy. And Andy and Test of Honor is a Warlord game.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense then. So
yes.
All right then. So with that, like War Banner, none of the time from War Banner is being put towards development of new Test of Honor. It's you guys are 100% working on War Banner products all the time.
We're working 100% on War Banner products, apart from obviously the casting that we do for other companies, but 100% War Banner projects all the time.
Fantastic. How many people? So a lot of people always wonder, like, how many people it usually takes to make a team of a company. Like, obviously, you said in the beginning, it helps if you have people that can wear multiple hats, like you do editing and you do social media and things of that nature. How many people total are under, I guess, the banner of War Banner, for lack of better terms?
If you take people that are on the payroll, it's less than 10. But if you add the freelancers that do commissions for Warbanner, then that takes it over 10 into double figures. So Warbanner is still a small company, very, very small company. But because Andy and Mark have been very careful to pick versatile members of staff that can fulfill a number of different roles, we're able to. I think we're able to punch above our weight, and because Mark and Andy and the rest of the guys, I'm a neophyte in the industry, but the other guys in the industry have got stacks of experience. They're all multi-skilled, so that gives the company the skill set and the momentum to be able to carry on doing these projects. And I know I keep saying go and bang on about Mark and Andy, but they work all the time.
Right.
Andy and I are always chatting on Messenger about this project, that project, what we can do with this, what we can do with that, and that's throughout the day. That's from the moment that I get up to the moment that I go to bed. Andy and I will be communicating all day because he just doesn't turn off. He's always working and always thinking. And I think when you've got that kind of culture at the top, it permeates downwards, and that pulls the company along. It's like the rest of us are almost being pulled in Andy and Mark's wake. And there's a lot to be said for leading by example. Yeah. So yeah, we're a small company, but we're doing big things.
Yeah, that's actually pretty amazing to hear that you as far as like on the actual payroll, you already have 10 employees. Because I know a lot of companies here in the United States. Nick and I have talked to numerous ones throughout the few years of us doing this that they're like one-man shows or 2 or 3-man shows. We like to constantly go back to Sean Sutter with Metal King Studios with Relic Blade. He does the book layout, the artwork, the sculpting, the rules. It is 100% his project outside of like him having his own spin caster. It is all him. And I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled because like when my first big professional job in the industry started at Cool Mini or Not, where it's like, and I've said this numerous times, where it's like, if I needed something done, I had a person I could just go to get that portion of it done. And I could continue on with what I needed to do. And I look at guys like Sean and I'm like, man, you guys are killing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the end of the industry that I started in, because I started working with Alex at Arkworld, Warplot Miniatures. And he does all the sculpting. He does all the artwork. He wrote the rules. He created the background. He directs all the printing. His dad does the resin casting. It's a really small family concern with a couple of other specialists that he brings in to do certain roles, but it's mainly Alex. And when you compare that to like Warlord, Warbanner in between. They're quite a long way back from War. Yeah, I'm not really communicating this very well.
No, you're doing just fine.
Step above Warbanner, sort of like the next step up from your Relic Blades and your Arkworlds and whatnot. But it's still a small number of people doing incredible work. Mm-hmm. And that isn't me being egotistical. That's me being in awe of the people that I work with, because I look at the stuff that they do and the proficiency that they show whilst they're doing it, and I just think it's amazing. And I can see that's why Warbanner's future is so bright, because of the quality of the people that Mark and Andy have taken care to put in place. So to clarify, they do have less than 10 people on permanent payroll, but then they have a number of freelancers that are engaging regularly that takes that number above 10. I think that's just pulling the number off without actually counting on my fingers and toes. I would say that's the case.
Awesome. So with everything that we've talked about so far, obviously Gangs of Rome is a big focus right now, especially it's a flagship product for everything Warbanner's doing. What can we expect next as far as, obviously we talked about the gang boxes. We talked about you're going to be doing another like Blood on the Aventine style box. What are you doing to move, I guess if you want to call it, the overall arcing story forward? Are we going to see some like super unique rules coming out, some super unique, like almost if you want to call it like legendary coin cards? Like what can we expect with Gangs of Rome moving forward?
You're familiar with the term jumping the shark?
Yes.
Yeah. We want to do more of the same. We want to evolve what we've got without jumping the shark. Mm-hmm. So we want to give people what they like about Gangs of Rome, but giving it a different spin, making it plausible within the dynamics of the setting, without making it. We don't want to suddenly put Clockwork Centurions in the middle of it. We like it the way it is. We like it to be plausible, but with just certainly like the Sabura stuff that we've got going on at the moment. There's a little bit of sort of a touch of the supernatural in there, but that's about as far as we want to go. We don't want to go any further than that.
Right.
So there's a lot to go with Gangs of Rome that's going to be driven by the fiction. It's going to be driven by the characters. It's going to be driven by the different regions that we've got to explore yet. It's going to be driven by the quality of the sculpts, the quality of the writing, the quality of the support. The partnership that we've got going with Sarissa Precision, who've done a fantastic job with us, with the Roman stuff that they've done, the Streets of Rome series that they've done of MDF kits. It's been phenomenal, and I think Gangs of Rome's success was built on a very solid social media foundation that Andy laid. And a big part of that was the impact that Sarissa's stuff allowed him and Mark to present before the product even came out. So when it was released, there was so much anticipation and a desire for the product that it was off to a fantastic start, because people had been shown the very best that the product could be, and it was something for them to aspire to. So we don't need to change very much. We just need to evolve it and refine it and explore different areas of it, because there's so much to go at still. There's so much to explore that we can. There's stacks of material to explore yet that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. There's depths to it that we haven't even explored yet.
Okay, so overall, tons of ideas. You're just really making sure that it's slow and measured and calculated in how you're going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the last thing we want to do is swamp everybody in a glut of new products. We want a steady release schedule, plenty of opportunities to try the product before you buy it, demos and in-store demo days and tournaments and events. We just started a series of tournaments with some new campaign rules that we have written, so you can do narratives with your gang. So you've got your gang that you start playing at the beginning of your very first game, and you carry them through from game to game. And that's something that we're keen on developing. That sort of the notion that you're playing a Dominus or a Domina, trying to ascend to the Senate, and your story develops as your gang develops from game to game.
Right.
And there's stacks of opportunity in that.
All right. Awesome. So for those of you, for the folks out there that are not familiar with Warbanner and where to find them, where can listeners go to find out more about what Warbanner is doing?
Warbanner.co.uk is a fantastic place to start. You go on the Facebook group. We've just relaunched our newsletter. That's fortnightly. There's going to be plenty of material every fortnight in there, highlighting the new stuff that's coming out and the events that we're going to be running. There's loads of backstory and fiction on warbanner.co.uk that will help people familiarize themselves with the environment and the people that live in it. And yeah, those are the main ways to find out about Warbanner, and to find out about what we're doing, and to find out about Gangs of Rome and the other stuff that we've got coming out as and when we release it. And I have to mention that Warbanner isn't just Warbanner. We also produce futsal miniatures, which are probably, if we're not the best producers of historical miniatures on the market at the moment, we're certainly up there at the sharp end. The new feudal samurai range that they just brought out.
Yeah, keep rubbing that in my face.
Yeah.
Guys.
Yeah, sorry, I touched a nerve there.
Andy knows.
No.
I've talked to him about it. So
they're amazing. Anybody who's playing Saga, if they probably already have futsal miniatures, but if they haven't, then they need to look at those, because they're absolutely fantastic. Some of the best sculpts, and Bill, who does most of the sculpting, I should say, for futsal, is just a phenomenal sculptor. And the guys in the casting room do such a good job producing those. They're amazing miniatures.
Awesome.
I have a few different footsore armies.
Good. Which are your favourite?
The Romano British.
Yep. My wife's got some of those. She's very, very, very happy with those. I'm particularly keen on the Caliphate and the Vikings.
I do like the Caliphate, but I haven't really started collecting that yet.
I like many people in the hobby, have a lot of unpainted armies, and the Caliphate is one of them. And half an unpainted Viking army, and it's only half because I haven't bought the other half yet.
Yeah, I know that problem. Actually, I've got a shelf next to me that is full of footsore Irish that haven't seen any paint, not even any primer yet. And there's a lot of them.
Yeah. I can't scold you for that, because that's the majority of my miniature collection is exactly the same state.
See, and here I'm hoping to have my 8 points of Vikings done here probably within the next 2 weeks.
Cool. Look forward to seeing those.
Yeah, and I've also got 4 points of Skraeling, which is an awful lot of Skraeling.
Ooh, yeah.
It's all Levy.
Yeah, the Skraeling are very nice. Speaking of, I look forward to seeing your painted miniatures. Warbanner also look after we don't look after it, we run it. The Sculpting, Painting and Gaming blog, which is a blog dedicated to sculpting, painting and gaming, as the name would suggest. We're always looking out for new material from gamers and painters and sculptors. So if anybody's interested in submitting any material, take a look at the blog. There's a link there for the submissions page. Always happy to entertain new submissions. And even if I say so myself, there's some cracking articles on there. I don't know if you listeners are familiar with the term cracking. It's not breaking under its own weight or anything. It's a superlative that we use in the UK for really very good.
Yeah, at this point, I would certainly hope that everybody who's listened to this podcast in some fashion has heard that term at some point.
That's good. That's good. Sometimes I'm aware that we're two nations divided by a common language.
Yeah. And a giant body of water, but who's paying attention to that?
Yeah. Planes kind of render that a moot point, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Yeah. Well, Nick, is there anything you want to throw in there before we close this bad boy out?
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taunting us further with stuff you couldn't tell us.
You're very welcome. If at any point you want me to come on and not tell you anything, then I'm all yours.
Perfect.
Excellent.
We're going to hold you to that for the next time we have a War Banner podcast. We're going to make sure that you can come on and specifically not talk about things.
We'll even work it out with Andy beforehand.
Yeah.
We'll even work it out with Andy beforehand. So he'll be on there, and every time you go to say something, he'll be like, no, not that.
What you don't know is he stood off. He's you can't see. He's stood to the right of me with a gun. Oh, the stuff I could tell you if Andy wasn't stood over me with a gun.
Well, now we know if anything mysterious happens, who to start questioning first.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Andy is he's the prime suspect if anything happens to me overnight.
Except for, we know Andy and showing up to podcasts, he's not very reliable on it, so I really can't believe that he's there with a gun.
Nick brings up a fair point. If you really want to make sure that Andy stays away from you, just say that you're doing a podcast.
That's genius. If only I'd known about that years ago. Is the podcasts are like Andy's garlic, are they?
Apparently.
With us it was, but he made good on it. So
good.
But I still
had his chops every time.
I still had to give him some trouble.
I thought you were going to say treats to bribe him onto the program with Scooby snacks.
Let's hope we never reach that point. We try to keep it professionally unprofessional on Skirmish Supremacy, but the moment we got to start bribing people with Scooby snacks, I think we just got to hang this thing up.
Wait, you mean, sorry, can we just clarify, you're saying there's no Scooby snacks?
Well, folks, that's going to wrap up this episode of Skirmish Supremacy. We will see you next time. Thanks for listening to another episode of Skirmish Supremacy. To see more of the antics that Nick and I do, you can check us out on Facebook at Skirmish Supremacy. We also have Twitter, which we can be reached at Skirmish Supreme, because apparently Skirmish Supremacy does not fit in Twitter. And if you want to email us directly, you can reach us at tim@skirmishsupremacy.com or nick@skirmishsupremacy.com. Thanks for listening.